Jack Harlan had waited for this moment, though he never imagined it would feel quite so satisfying. The screech of tires echoed across his sprawling farm as the gleaming SUV barreled down the private dirt road, its driver oblivious to the heavy chain and padlock now securing the old iron gate. Metal twisted and groaned on impact, the vehicle crumpling like a tin can against the unyielding barrier. Smoke rose from the hood, and Jack, watching from his porch with a steaming mug of coffee in hand, allowed himself a grim smile. This wasn't just an accident, it was justice, long overdue. Jack was a third-generation farmer, his weathered hands etched with the stories of decades spent tending the land his grandfather had claimed from the wild. He lived by a simple code: respect the earth, respect your neighbors, and above all, respect boundaries. But respect was in short supply ever since Susan and her sisters moved into the oversized house on the adjacent property. What started as a minor annoyance quickly spiraled into a war of attrition. It began innocently enough. The sisters, fresh from the city with their luxury cars and entitled attitudes, treated Jack's private access road like their personal speedway. They'd race through at all hours, kicking up dust clouds that choked his crops and spooking his livestock. Deep ruts scarred the path, and more than once, they'd clipped fences, letting cattle wander. Jack tried the neighborly approach, first a polite knock on their door, hat in hand, explaining the road was his, not a public thoroughfare. Susan, the ringleader with her sharp tongue and designer sunglasses, just laughed it off. "Lighten up, old man," she'd said. "It's just a dirt track. We're not hurting anyone." Her sisters echoed the sentiment, their smirks fueling Jack's growing frustration. Warnings went unheeded. Jack documented everything: photos of the damage, videos of their reckless drives captured on his phone. He even sent a lawyer's letter, outlining the trespassing laws and demanding they cease. But Susan fired back with her own threats, claiming some vague right-of-way from old maps she'd researched online. The clashes grew uglier: verbal spats at the property line, where Susan accused Jack of being a miserly recluse hoarding land that should be shared. The community whispered about it, some siding with Jack's traditional values, others calling him outdated in a world of progress and convenience. Tired of the chaos, Jack made his move. He reinforced the old gate at the road's entrance, one that had stood unlocked for years out of courtesy. Now, it was chained shut, a clear message: this ends here. The crash came that very night, Susan's sister behind the wheel, phone in hand, distracted and speeding. The sisters spilled out, unharmed but furious, hurling insults as they surveyed the wreckage. Susan arrived moments later, her face twisted in rage. "You'll pay for this," she screamed, dialing the sheriff while threatening lawsuits and worse. But the law was on Jack's side. The sheriff, a local who'd known Jack for years, reviewed the deeds and nodded approvingly. "Private property, ma'am. You should have heeded the warnings." The retaliation was swift and petty, sparking debates in town about where neighborly disputes crossed into harassment. Susan's family struck back under cover of night, spray painting vulgar graffiti on the gate, dumping bags of trash over the fence, blasting music at all hours to disturb Jack's sleep. One morning, he found his driveway glittering with thousands of tiny plastic flecks glitter bombed, a childish prank that took weeks to clean. Susan took to social media, posting passive-aggressive rants about greedy farmers ruining the countryside, complete with doctored photos making Jack look like a villain. But the posts backfired spectacularly. Locals flooded the comments with support for Jack, sharing stories of similar entitled newcomers disrupting rural life. The controversy went viral in small-town circles, pitting old-school landowners against urban transplants in heated online arguments. Jack didn't sit idle. He installed trail cameras, capturing every act of vandalism on high-definition video. He filed complaints with the homeowners association that governs Susan's subdivision, citing noise violations and property misuse. To rally allies, he hosted community bonfires on his land, where neighbors swapped tales over beer and esmores, forging bonds that isolated Susan further. Then came the bombshell. Digging through ancient county records, Jack discovered an easement clause buried in the deeds. A sliver of Susan's backyard where she'd built an extravagant gazebo actually belonged to him, a forgotten overlap from a century-old survey. The revelation was controversial, Some called it nitpicking. Others hailed it as rightful reclamation in an era of lax property laws. Tensions boiled over with the arrival of Susan's cousin, Derek, a hot-headed type with a lifted truck. One foggy evening, he roared down the road, ignoring the gate entirely by veering off-path straight into Jack's duck pond. The truck sank axle-deep in mud, ducks scattering in panic as Derek emerged cursing. More damage, polluted water, ruined habitat. The sheriff returned, this time towing the vehicle and issuing citations. Jack pressed his advantage, demanding a property line reassessment that confirmed the easement. HOA inspectors flagged Susan's home for multiple violations on unauthorized structures, overgrown weeds masking the disputes. Whispers spread that her mortgage might be in jeopardy, flagged for the encroaching legal mess. The town buzzed with controversy. Was Jack a hero defending his heritage, or a bully wielding bureaucracy against a family? The climax unfolded at Susan's lavish gala party, an ostentatious affair meant to showcase her victory over the backwoods tyrant. Guests in cocktail attire mingled under string lights, unaware of the storm brewing. Jack arrived uninvited, flanked by officials from the county and HOA. In a dramatic interruption, he presented the easement documents, exposing the gazebo as illegal on his land. Gasps rippled through the crowd as surveyors marked boundaries with stakes, right through the party setup. Susan's face drained of color. Arguments erupted, guests debating the ethics of such public shaming. Was it justified revenge or excessive cruelty? The night ended in chaos, with officials ordering immediate change and Susan retreating in humiliation. Legal battles ensued, turning the feud into a courtroom spectacle that divided opinions far and wide. Susan sued first, accusing Jack of harassment, sabotage, and emotional distress. Her lawyer painted him as a vindictive loner terrorizing innocent women. Jack countered with a mountain of evidence, footage of the vandalism, witness statements. The lawyers ignored warnings. In court, the judge reviewed videos of the sisters' reckless drives, the easement proofs, and tallied damages to Jack's property. The ruling was decisive in Jack's favor. He was awarded compensation for repairs, legal fees, and even punitive damages for the ongoing harassment. Susan faced the fallout. Her mortgage reassessed amid the disputes, leading to foreclosure threats. She was forced to dismantle the gazebo and other encroachments, her dream home now a symbol of hubris. Defeated, Susan penned a reluctant apology letter, admitting her family's oversteps and begging for peace. She sold the house at a steep loss, the family scattering to distant cities, tails between their legs. In their place came Emily and Mark, a humble couple with young kids who approached Jack with genuine respect. They transformed the property into a cozy homestead, planting gardens that complemented his farm and even sharing fresh-baked pies over the fence. Relations blossomed, barbecues replaced battles, laughter echoing where shouts once rang. Jack reflected on it all as seasons turned, his farm thriving under clearer skies. He'd learned the hard way about endurance, the fragility of boundaries, and the cost of entitlement. The community evolved too, with new discussions on property rights sparking town hall debates, some controversial, questioning if such feuds eroded rural harmony or preserved it. An anonymous gift arrived one day, a framed photo of the mangled SUV at the gate, a cheeky reminder of the turning point. Jack hung it in his barn, next to tools of his trade. The gate stood firm, no longer a barrier but a monument to resolve, rusting quietly as life moved on. In the end, respect wasn't demanded, it was earned, through fire and grit.